This dude, right, just a regular guy, spends most of his time online, plays some Nintendo games, chats on forums. Total harmless vibe. But then one day, he decides to fly across the country. No warning, no invite, just shows up at the door of a couple he barely knows from the internet. Sleeps on their floor, and months later, he comes back with a knife. It sounds like some twisted horror movie, but this actually happened. And what's even crazier, the boyfriend, seconds from dying, somehow manages to write a message in his own blood that ends up solving the whole thing. Yeah, this story is unreal, and the deeper you go, the worse it gets. It's creepy, tragic, and totally addicting to watch unfold. And the ending, bro, it hits different. So if you think you've heard wild internet stories before, nah. This one's on a whole other level. Let me show you what really went down. It's 2008. And there's this guy named David. He's 21, living in Germany, and honestly, he's your classic introverted gamer type. Like, super into video games, especially this one called Advance Wars. It's this turn-based strategy game, kinda nerdy, but with a really passionate fanbase. Now, David spends a lot of time online, and one day, he stumbles across a fan site for Advance Wars. It's called Wars Central. Think of it like a tiny corner of the internet where gamers just like him hang out, talk strategy, and share fan content. And for David, it's like finding his people. But then, he finds her. Her name is Joanna. She's 21 too, lives in England, and she's actually the co-founder of the site. She's smart, into gaming, creative, all of that. And for David, she might as well be perfect. Like, love at first forum post perfect. He immediately gets hooked, not just on the game anymore, but on Joanna. There's just one problem. Joanna's got a boyfriend. His name's Matthew, and surprise, he's also the co-founder of the site. He lives with Joanna. They're happy. They're an actual real-life couple who built this community together. But David, he doesn't care at all. He starts messaging Joanna non-stop. Harmless at first, just fanboy stuff, compliments, being super friendly. But then it starts getting weird. He's commenting on all her posts, DMing her, basically trying to be in her life constantly. It's like he forgets, or just ignores, that she's in a relationship. Joanna, being a nice person, tries to let him down gently. She's polite, she draws boundaries. She's not trying to be mean. But David doesn't take the hint. In fact, he takes it the complete wrong way. Instead of backing off, he leans in harder. More messages, more compliments, more, "you're the only girl for me" vibes. Now, everyone who knows David says the same thing. He was kind of a loner. Not super social, the kind of guy who spent more time in fantasy worlds than the real one. So for him, this online thing with Joanna, it felt real, way too real, and that's when his obsession really starts to grow. Like, we're talking full-blown crush with zero self-awareness. He starts getting jealous of Matthew, starts acting like Joanna should be with him, like he deserves her just because he feels something. And that's where things start to turn dark. Because David wasn't just crushing, he was building up something way more dangerous. And next, he hops on a train and shows up at their apartment. Uninvited. Let's talk about what happens when fantasy meets real life, face to face. So, after months of obsessing over Joanna from behind a screen, David decides that talking online isn't enough anymore. He wants to see her in real life. And yeah, this isn't just like, "Hey, I'll be in the neighborhood. Wanna grab a coffee?" No, this guy lives in Germany and Joanna's in England. But that doesn't stop him. David somehow gets her address from someone else in the Advance Wars forum. Yeah, he doesn't even ask Joanna or Matthew for it, he just straight up gets it. And one day, without telling anyone, he hops on a train, travels across the country, and shows up outside their apartment in Nottingham. Uninvited, completely unannounced. Now at this point, Joanna and Matthew are out. They've been out drinking, just walking home, probably thinking it's a normal night. Until they see David, standing right there, outside their building. Like, what? Imagine seeing someone from the internet just randomly waiting outside your house. Total creep energy. But here's the thing. Matthew is actually nice. Too nice, maybe. He feels bad for David. I think maybe he's just a little socially awkward or harmless. So instead of freaking out or calling the police, they invite him in. And that's when it gets even weirder. Because they find out, David didn't book a hotel, or even have a place to stay. He just came. So Joanna starts calling hostels, hotels, whatever she can find. She calls like 25 different places. No joke. but everywhere is booked. And now it's like, what do you do? Just kick him out into the street. So they do the only thing they can think of. They let him sleep on the floor. But here's the catch. Their apartment is tiny. The only space to sleep is in their bedroom. So now David, this obsessed internet guy, is literally sleeping on the floor of the same room as Joanna and her boyfriend. Joanna's trying to sleep, with David just lying there like a human red flag. She's super creeped out, but she gets through the night. The next day, they finally manage to find him a place to stay, and he leaves. Problem solved, right? Nope, not even close. Because David doesn't go home. He sticks around in England for a month, and he starts visiting other people from the Advance Wars Forum, people who also know Joanna and Matthew. And with each person he sees, he's talking non-stop about Joanna. Telling them how amazing she is, how he's in love with her, like it's some kind of rom-com and not deeply disturbing. And then it gets even worse. He starts going back to Joanna's apartment. Not knocking, not calling. Just leaving her love notes outside. Like handwritten letters saying how he feels, hoping she'll read them when she gets home. Over and over again. And at this point, people in the forum are starting to notice. Like, this isn't just a crush. This is some next level obsession. But for David, this isn't a phase. It's just the beginning, because what he does next is the first real sign that this story is about to take a dark turn. Back in Germany, you'd think David would cool off, right? But nope, the opposite happens. Instead of moving on, he gets even more obsessed. Like, way more. He starts writing Joanna letters. Not just one or two. Dozens. These are long, handwritten love letters. Page after page of how much he adores her, how perfect she is, how they're meant to be. It's like he's living in some fantasy. Except Joanna isn't replying, not once. She's not calling him, not texting, she's not doing anything, and that drives him crazy. But instead of backing off, he doubles down. He keeps mailing her more letters. He even writes poems. He starts sending little gifts. Every day, he's thinking about her. Every day, he's getting more frustrated. In his mind, he's not just in love. He's convinced they should be together. That Matthew is in the way. That Joanna is just confused. He starts blaming Matthew for everything. Starts thinking, if Matthew wasn't around, she'd be with me. That thought gets stuck in his head. And then it grows. Now, every time he writes a letter, it's not just about love. It's about pain, rejection, anger. He starts writing things like, "You don't know how much I've done for you. You don't see the truth yet, but you will. You chose the wrong person." It goes from sweet to weird to dark, really fast. And then it all blows up when Matthew, totally fed up, makes a public post on the forum. It's called 19 Reasons I Hate David Heiss. Yup, he names names, lists out all the creepy stuff David's done. The letters, the surprise visit, the stalking, everything. People on the forum read it. They're shocked. Some say they noticed it too. Others start calling David out. His online world, his safe space, turns on him. And David, he flips. To him, it's betrayal. Matthew just embarrassed him in front of the only community he felt accepted in. He starts replying, arguing, sending angry messages, saying Joanna's been brainwashed, that Matthew's keeping her away. He's spiraling hard, and it's at this point the story stops being just about heartbreak. Because now, it's not about getting Joanna to love him. It's about getting back at the guy who ruined everything. And that's when it turns scary. Because when someone this obsessed starts talking about revenge, it usually means something bad is coming. Really bad. So now the whole forum knows. Matthew just dropped that post, 19 Reasons I Hate David Heiss, and it spreads like wildfire. Everyone's reading it. Everyone's talking about it. David has officially been put on blast. And he's furious. See, for David, this wasn't just some random post. This was public humiliation. This was the girl he's obsessed with, watching everyone call him a creep. The one place he felt important, the forum, now sees him as the villain. He starts firing back. He's typing these huge replies, trying to defend himself, saying Matthew is lying, twisting the truth, turning Joanna against him. But nobody's buying it. In fact, more users start jumping in. People start sharing their own weird stories about David, how he made him uncomfortable, how he was always talking about Joanna like she was already his girlfriend. The forum becomes a battlefield. It's David versus pretty much everyone. But David won't back down. He starts messaging Joanna again, even after she told him to stop. He says things like, "You're being controlled. I'm the only one who really loves you. You'll see the truth one day." And it just keeps getting worse. More intense, more aggressive, more unhinged. Eventually, Joanna has to step in. She blocks him, she bans him from the forum, and she sends him one final message. Get help. And for a second, it seems like maybe he finally got the message. Things go quiet. No posts, no messages, no letters. It's like he disappeared. Joanna and Matthew probably thought it was over. But what they didn't know was that David hadn't given up. He was planning something, and this time, he wasn't coming back to talk. He was coming back to do something much, much worse. Alright, so here's where things go from weird to seriously dark. David's been quiet for a while, right? No messages, no posts, just silence. But behind the scenes, he's not moving on. He's stewing, he's planning, and what's on his mind now isn't love, it's revenge. He decides that the only way to fix things is to get rid of Matthew. Yeah, that's his actual thought process. So he comes up with this twisted plan. He's going to kill Matthew, and then try to make it look like Matthew did it to himself. That way, Joanna will be free, and in his mind, maybe she'll even run into David's arms. Insane, right? So, one day, David packs his bag, grabs a knife, and travels, again, all the way from Germany to England. No one knows he's coming. He doesn't tell a soul. He just shows up outside Joanna and Matthew's apartment and waits. Literally hides near the building with a sleeping bag, like some kind of stalker ninja. Then, early the next morning, Joanna leaves for work. She has no idea David is even in the country. And the second she's gone, David makes his move. He walks up to the apartment door, knocks, and when Matthew answers, boom. He pulls out the knife and just attacks. It's fast. It's brutal. He stabs Matthew over 80 times. 80. It's so violent, there's blood everywhere. David completely loses control, and once Matthew is lying there, not moving, David starts trying to stage the scene. He messes up the apartment, like it was a break-in gone wrong. Throws stuff around, opens drawers, like that would cover up what he just did. Then, just like that, he leaves. Hops on a plane, flies back to Germany, like it was nothing. But here's where it gets heartbreaking. Matthew didn't die right away. He was still alive. After David attacked Matthew and left the apartment, he thought it was over. He figured no one would know it was him. He tried to make the place look like it was just a random robbery gone wrong. But David didn't realize one huge thing. Matthew wasn't dead yet. Somehow, even after being stabbed over 80 times, Matthew was still alive. Barely, but his mind was still working. He knew what had happened. He knew who did it. And he knew this might be his last chance to help catch his killer. So, with his last bit of strength, he dragged himself over to his desk. He grabbed something nearby, maybe a piece of paper, maybe nothing at all, and with his own blood, he managed to write just 3 letters on the side of his computer monitor. DAV, the first 3 letters of David. That's all he could manage before his body gave out. But it was enough. When police arrived, they found that clue. And when they looked into Joanna and Matthew's history, all the pieces came together. The stalking, the love notes, the threats, the random visits, and now, this final, bloody message from the victim himself. It made the case crystal clear. That one clue, those 3 little letters, told the whole story. Matthew, even in his final moments, made sure David didn't get away with it. And because of that, David Heiss was caught, charged, and sentenced to life in prison. Matthew's final act was pure bravery. He didn't just fight to survive, he fought to make sure justice was done. This whole story, it's honestly terrifying. It shows how something that starts online, like just chatting in a gaming forum, can spiral into something way darker if the wrong person gets obsessed. On one hand, the internet gives us awesome chances to connect, build friendships, and find people with the same interests. But on the flip side, it can also give dangerous people access they never should have had. Someone like David, who couldn't take no for an answer, used that access to cross major boundaries, over and over, until it ended in tragedy. And the scariest part, Joanna and Matthew did everything right. They blocked him, they distanced themselves, they warned him, and still, it wasn't enough. That's what makes this so hard to watch, because sometimes, no matter how careful you are, people like David push right past every boundary. But there's something powerful in how Matthew responded in the end. Even in the worst moment of his life, he didn't give up. He gave police the clue they needed to catch David. That took real courage. So if there's anything to take from this, it's that online safety is not a joke. If someone's crossing the line, report it. Talk to someone, take it seriously, and if you're ever in a situation that feels off, Even just a little, trust that feeling. It could save your life. Stay safe out there. If you made it this far, yo, you're a real one. This story was wild, dark, and honestly hard to believe, but there are way more insane true stories out there just like this one. So if you want more of the craziest internet drama, true crime, and stuff that'll leave your jaw on the floor, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next one. Drop a comment below. What would you have been, Joanna or Matthew? Let's talk about it. Alright, that's it from me. Stay smart, stay safe, and I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.